Hi, friends. It's day 28 of the NaPoWriMo challenge. We are almost there, almost to the end. We're at the finish line if you are playing in real time or doing this challenge anytime you want. So I'm going to be real honest about the creative process. I am so running on fumes right now. And if you are too, that is totally okay because if you have been writing a poem a day for the past 27 days, that is today would be 4 weeks. So, congratulations. Give yourself a nice little round of applause. We're cheering each other on towards the finish line. So, whether you are sprinting towards the finish line or just crawling, we're going to get there either way. All right. So, I've got a poem for you today and a very simple prompt. I'm going prompt light. Okay. So, here we go, but I've still got something good for you. This is The Trouble with Poetry, a poem a poem of explanation by Billy Collins, okay, who was the US Poet Laureate. It goes like this. The trouble with poetry, I realized as I walked along a beach one night, cold Florida sand under my bare feet, a show of stars in the sky. The trouble with poetry is that it encourages the writing of more poetry. More guppies crowding the fish tank, more baby rabbits hopping out of their mothers into the dewy grass. And how will it ever end? Unless the day finally arrives when we have compared everything in the world to everything else in the world, and there is nothing left to do but quietly close our notebooks and sit with our hands folded on our desks. Poetry fills me with joy as I rise like a feather in the wind. Poetry fills me with sorrow and I sink like a chain flung from a bridge. But mostly, poetry fills me with the urge to write poetry, to sit in the dark and wait for a little flame to appear at the tip of my pencil. And along with that, the longing to steal, to break into the poems of others with a flashlight and a ski mask. And what an unmerry band of thieves we are. Cut purses, common shoplifters, I thought to myself as a cold wave swirled around my feet and the lighthouse moved its megaphone over the sea, which is an image I stole directly from Lawrence Ferlinghetti, to be perfectly honest for a moment. The bicycling poet of San Francisco, whose little amusement park of a book I carried in a side pocket of my uniform up and down the treacherous halls of high school. Okay, so like I said, I'm going prompt light. I'm going to give you your mantra here and then a very brief sort of prompt to that poem. So, remembering I am here and present with my experiences. I am grounded and open. I have unlimited access to the infinite flow of creativity always around me. Whatever happens on these pages is what's meant to happen. I'm not judging myself or my writing. I'm just writing. I have everything I need to begin already inside of me. I'm settling in and I'm ready to write. Okay, prompt light. Didn't even put a PowerPoint together, but here it is. I'll give it to you in the steps and you can take it however you want. So, step one, free write, as we are on day 28. Free write if you want, or you can skip it. Free write what poetry means to you today. So I love doing kind of an Ars Poetica reflection towards the end of a 30-30 challenge. Like, what have you been doing this past month? Why are you doing it? What have you learned? What is poetry to you in your life? So if you want, just let some ideas come out on the page for that for about, the good 5 minutes that you want to do for free write. Um, and then I want to invite you to think about the subject of this poem, which is the trouble with poetry. Feel free to start with that line as a really good entrance point into your poem. So, the trouble with poetry is, and then just let yourself, go with that, see where it takes you. And if you have access to a couple of your favorite poems, either that you can pull up online or you might have them in a book, maybe choose like three of your favorite poems. So I've been doing like going for 30 of, some of the most influential poems on me. But thinking about three poems, maybe, or one, whatever you want to do, you can even go back to these videos. And if any of the poems I've shared have been really resonant with you or have been some of your favorite poems, you can go back to those. But the point is, go into some of your favorite poems and pull out lines that really resonate with you, that you really like and want to respond to. So, this is a really good practice at any point that you want to start writing a poem, or that you get stuck or you just need some inspiration. So, like Billy Collins says in his poem, the image he stole directly from Lawrence Ferlinghetti, to be perfectly honest for a moment. By the way, that's a really good line to sort of steal as a stem, to be perfectly honest for a moment. So that's part of your prompt if you wish to take it. The trouble with poetry is, and then use somewhere in your poem, to be perfectly honest for a moment, and then go ahead and steal or borrow lines from some of your favorite poems, put them into this poem. Obviously, if you're ever going to publish, give the original poet and the original poem credit. So that's always like either in a note section at the end, or you can italicize the line to make it obvious that you are borrowing it. Or even like Billy Collins, you can be self referential in the actual poem and say, yeah, I took this line from this poem, from this person. But I want you to just play with allowing yourself to acknowledge the influence that other poets have had on you by bringing their actual language into your poem and have conversation with it. So that's your prompt. Go ahead and step one, free write your relationship to poetry right now, if you would like. Step two, go ahead and grab some poems that you like and highlight and get some lines ready to put into your own poem. And then step three, you might want to try starting with the line, the trouble with poetry is, and make sure to put somewhere in your poem, if you want, the line, to be perfectly honest for a moment. So be really perfectly honest about your relationship with poetry. Love, hate, mixed feelings, inspired, whatever it is for you. Why do you write poetry? And what is the lineage that you write poetry from? Who has influenced you? Okay, so Billy Collins, I'm just BioLite, US Poet Laureate from 2001 to 2003, a bunch of collections of poetry. Okay, so you can look up Billy Collins, he's very famous. And there is your prompt for day 28. Prompt Lite. I'm here, I'm showing up, you're here, you're showing up. Write your poem and keep going through the end of day 30. I will celebrate with you once we get there. All right? Okay.